So I thought maybe Nine was worried that I would be attracted to her friend. So she deliberately kept me from meeting the girl. After I got home, I asked my girlfriend who the girl was that she had been with on the day of the accident. Nine told me that she had taken a taxi alone and that she had been by herself the whole time. Dong paused and Tia started to understand. He didn't push Dong anymore. After a while, Dong continued. Now that I think about it, she seemed a bit off at that time. She was very agitated and shouted at me, calling me crazy and telling me to leave. She said she didn't want to see me anymore. I had to coax her for several days before things got better. Not long after that, we went to a bar together. I had too much to drink, and somehow I brought up the topic again. I felt very uncomfortable and wronged inside. I trusted her so much, but she didn't trust me. Why would she worry about me cheating just because she didn't let me meet her friend? Brother Sue had met her friend, but I hadn't. When I asked her about it, Nine's face turned pale and she screamed and ran out. I chased after her, but she ignored me. The next day, I received a message from his girlfriend on WeChat saying she wanted to break up. He tried to call her, but she had blocked him so he couldn't get through. He was so anxious that he went to the dessert shop to find Nine, but the shop was closed. He went there twice in the morning and afternoon, but no one was there. It wasn't until the third afternoon when he went there that he saw a middle-aged woman opening the shop. He quickly went over and asked, "Where is Nine?" "Who are you?" The woman said she was Nine's aunt and asked who he was. Dong explained that he was her boyfriend, but her aunt didn't believe him, seeing how anxious the young man was. The aunt told Dong that Nine had been in a car accident. Pia was stunned after hearing this and said, "Another car accident?" Dong gave a bitter smile and said, "Her aunt told me that Nine had taken a ride-hailing car, and she was sitting in the back seat, near the entrance of the women's street. She was suddenly rear-ended by a Buick GL8. The GL8 was traveling at a very high speed and didn't slow down at all. It hit the car Nine was in with a loud bang. The weirdest part is that when the traffic police investigated the accident, the reason turned out to be that the driver of the GL8 had dozed off while driving. He didn't notice and didn't slow down. Do you remember when Brother Sue had his accident? He also dozed off suddenly and rear-ended Nine's car. I got goosebumps all over. Don't you think this is strange? It's definitely not normal and definitely not a coincidence." When Tia heard this, he was a bit stunned, but he still tried to console Dong, saying, "Don't overthink it. It's just a coincidence." Dong continued, "There couldn't be so many coincidences, and that's not all. His aunt told me that the driver who caused the accident said there were 2 girls in the car he hit. But the ride-hailing driver said there was only 9 in the car. The driver who caused the accident said he clearly saw 2 girls get out of the car. One of them sure, and after getting out, she just walked away. He found it quite strange and wondered if they were together or if it was a shared ride. But when he asked the ride-hailing driver, he was told there was only 1 person in the car. However, Nine's condition was very serious at the time. So the driver who caused the accident was also very anxious. He didn't chase after the short girl to ask her anything, and seeing that she seemed unaffected and walked away on her own. Dong said, "After hearing this, I felt something was off. I immediately called Brother Sue and asked him about the situation with the short girl he saw. Brother Sue said he remembered her quite well because she was quite pretty. The short girl was dressed very simply, but she didn't say a word the whole time. Now that I think back, It seemed like there was no interaction between the two girls. The short girl just followed Nine the whole time. But when Brother Sue went back to the hospital from the accident scene to find them, he didn't see the short girl again. When Tia heard this, he finally understood what Dong had been talking about in a confusing way. He realized that the problem seemed to be with the short girl. He also broke out in a cold sweat, wondering what was really going on. Tia wanted to ask him more, but for a moment he didn't know where to start. After a while, he asked, "So how is Nine now?" Dong said, "I begged her aunt to take me to the hospital to see Nine. When I got there, her parents were already there. She was still in the ICU when I went, but she has been moved out now. However, she still hasn't regained consciousness." I told her family about what the driver who caused the accident said about seeing two girls. And I also mentioned that Brother Sue saw a girl during the accident. I asked her family if they knew anything about it, but her aunt and parents were all very surprised. They had no idea what was going on and were completely at a loss. After saying this, both of them fell silent. It was Tia who broke the silence first. He asked Dong, "So, what are your plans now?" Dong, with a tearful voice, said, "I really like Nine. I've never apologized or admitted my mistake to a girl after an argument before." He told Tia, "I'm going to wait until Nine wakes up." Dong spent every day in the hospital with his girlfriend. Fortunately, she had only suffered a moderate concussion and had been unconscious for a while. Besides a few soft tissue contusions, she had no serious injuries and had already regained consciousness. Her recovery was going well, and there were no significant after effects. When Tia visited Nine, he talked to her a lot. Tia had a partner, the designer named X, whose uncle was a master of traditional Chinese geomancy, a highly respected figure in the field. Since Nine's experience seemed very eerie, Dong asked Tia, "If Nine agrees, could you ask X's uncle to come and take a look? Who is this girl who doesn't exist? Maybe a knowledgeable person can help us understand better and feel more at ease." Dong also hoped that his good friend Tia could visit the hospital to comfort Nine. Tia said, "No problem. I can go to the hospital to see Nine and talk to her. But as for X's uncle, I'll need to ask X to help me get in touch with him. I can't make the decision on my own." With Nine's consent, Pia went to the hospital after work on Wednesday to visit her. When he arrived, he saw that Dong and Nine, who had previously broken up, had reconciled. When Tia entered the room, Dong was being very considerate, peeling an apple and carefully cutting it into small pieces with a knife. He was feeding his girlfriend with toothpicks. However, Nine was still very weak. Pia learned at the hospital that during this period, Dong had been taking care of his girlfriend without asking about her past. Tia said, "Dong is a good guy. He really cherishes you. You should trust him completely. Don't keep things bottled up inside. Only by resolving the issues from the past can you have a more peaceful and happy future." In the end, Nine began to recount a part of her past that had been haunting her with nightmares. Nine is a girl from Chengdu and her family is well off. After graduating from university in Beijing, she worked at a company for a while but felt dissatisfied. Later, she resigned because she had always been interested in making desserts. After discussing with her family, she rented a small storefront in Beijing and joined a well-known dessert brand at the time. She rented a studio apartment near an apartment building in the northern part of the 5th Ring Road in Beijing. Her neighbors were two young girls, both very nice. When they saw a new neighbor had moved in, they took the initiative to help her settle in. After getting settled, Nine invited the two girls to have dinner together as a way to show her gratitude. During the meal, they hit it off and became friends, often going out together on weekends to hang out and chat. The two girls, one named Fei and the other Ling, were close friends with Nine. Fei was 3 years older than Nine, while Ling was 5 years her senior.